episode of Startup Tables with AJ. AJ, of course, here being me, Archana Jahagirdar. I'm the founder of Rukum Capital, and I have a table full of goodies, or rather founders. For a VC, I mean, founders are always the best thing ever that happens to us. We are going to get into a really interesting conversation with our founders here.
Hi, my name is Arpit and I'm the founder of Feastbox. It's a new age instant meal brand that looks to offer meals in a convenient format, which are chemical free, which are junk free, which you can consume on the go. So we have 3 products right now, which are your creamy Alfredo pasta, your spicy arrabbiata pasta, and Mexican rice with baked nachos.
I'm Amrit, started a company called Tabar. We are in the early age learning and skill development space. We are a platform where parents come in to discover what to do with their child, how to go about booking it, and then we offer the convenience of booking that over WhatsApp on our platform at a great value and discount using our membership. And for the parenting businesses, we are a complete platform for them to manage their business efficiently and also to scale because they get access to our parent network. So the complete end-to-end product platform for parents and folks in the parenting business. That's what we do.
I am Chirag. I run a company called Social Tag. We majorly market D2C companies and we help them market themselves with the power of distribution.
I'm Soumya and I run a hair care brand, which is where we are trying to skinify the hair care space. And we are a texture first brand where we have products for straight, wavy and curly hair textures.
Hi, my name is Shivam. I run a perfume brand called Perfume Lounge. So we make original perfumes for men and women.
My name is Raj Makhija. I am a co-founder of a company called Fitcart.com in India and also Smart Nutrition. So we're an 19-year-old company in India. We do sports nutrition, health, fitness, anything to do with your overall health with elite athletes across India. So our clients are all IPL teams, Olympic athletes, BCCI, major soccer clubs, academies and stuff. So we're building something unique for India where we have nutritionists, dietitians, physios, products, educators, all on one platform.
Hi, my name is Aditya Padar. I run FitFeast. We are trying to build India's largest taste-first protein brand. We're trying to make protein less intimidating and more mainstream and fortify protein with extremely tasty flavors. Have you ever had a Malai Kulfi?
Yes.
And what's the first thing that comes to your mind when you think of Malai Kulfi?
I'm the wrong DG, I don't have a sweet tooth. So I can't answer that, but maybe others here can answer that.
Anyone?
I've had a Malai.
What's the
You've
first
never
thing?
had?
I've had.
Probably you think of sugar, junk, right?
Yeah.
The extra calories that will be
Too
consumed.
much sugar.
Yeah, so we have flavors like Malai Kulfi, protein shake, New York cheesecake protein bar. Point is to integrate very exciting, tasty flavors with protein and good nutrition so that it becomes less intimidating for mainstream people, everyday people to be able to consume protein. We're a D2C brand, 70% is D2C and looking to scale right now, just closed a small round.
So, what I found interesting in all the introduction was that nobody talked about their background. Now, typically, if there are tech founders at the table, they always start with me when we were in IIT. So, I know the background of some of you here. So, I think what's interesting is that what is the reason for starting up, तो क्यों शुरू करा? और कोई काम नहीं था करने के लिए?
So for me, I think I was an avid consumer of packaged meals. So I used to work in Singapore for 5 years where we used to consume a lot of these meals. And one of these nights when I looked at the ingredients, I was really amazed at how many artificial flavors and everything is added to your food, which shouldn't be there. So that was the idea behind starting Feastbox, to come up with something which is really junk-free and guilt-free without chemicals. So that's how.
But what is an engineer doing with food?
Yeah, so
reveal your dirty secret or your past education.
No, yeah, I graduated from IIT Delhi. I then did my MBA from IIM Calcutta. Then worked for 9 years in investment banking and venture capital. Then moved on to this food
so the
industry.
other secret he's hiding is he used to work at Rukum. So
yeah,
that's the other secret he's hiding.
So I used to work here as well. And there are 2 reasons. I love food and then I want my food to be chemical free. So that's how I thought I could fill this gap by coming up with a new age of instant meal brands.
I think I also have a similar story.
Okay.
I also come from an engineering background, not
Good
an
God, what is happening to all the engineers? I mean, they're all becoming founders. Oh dear God. Okay, okay, please. Oh no. Chalo, sabhi bata do apni
Four of them.
I swear. Please continue.
So I was working as a consultant in an MNC like Genpact, HCL, and all these tech companies. And while working, I figured out that something is wrong with my hair. बाल गिरने शुरू हो गए थे. तब जाके, I did a lot of research and understood that the whole ball game is, wrong. सब कुछ गलत कर रहे हैं अभी तक हम. So then, of course, my daughter was born, and she started questioning a lot about my hair. That, Mama, why do you always straighten your hair? And I didn't even know my hair is curly at that point in time. So that was how the journey started of figuring out what my hair type is. And here we are with Truth in Hair now.
Fantastic.
I'm from Delhi, but I lived in US and Canada for about 20 years. I'm much older than you guys, so. But I went to school for sales, marketing, and everything. I worked in US for about 20 years with brands like Walmart, Target, Home Shopping, QVC, you name it, we've done it. Right in front of me, Barnes and Noble got transferred into Amazon, and in those days, so I've seen it all. I've done, and then in 2004 or 5, I was back here, my home, my parents in Delhi, and then I realized that so much of nutritional gap was there. I ended up meeting some of the cricket players at that time, Rahul and Sachin and all that, at a function, and I asked them this question.
I think you can take full names for the
Rahul Dravid and Sachin. So met the whole team, and then understood they had talent, they had hard work, everything, but they were lacking two parts of it, which was the nutritional aspects of their playing journey. So that's when I got in products introduced in India in 2005. 2006 was my first order from BCCI, and at that time I was fortunately working with Sylvester Stallone in the US at that time.
Oh, these are big names on this.
So he had a brand called InStone Nutrition. So we brought those products into India, educated the Indian cricket team how to take hydration in context and how to recover faster and everything. And ever since, the journey is going. We've grown up to 20,000 athletes. So we can proudly say that 90 of the 110 athletes using our products at the Olympics at the moment.
Wow.
So again, I started my journey when I was 16. The idea was not to become a marketer. I come from a family background of real estate and all of those things, but did not like that domain at all.
Delhi mein sab real estate mein. Everybody's a...
Right. No, but I did not. And this is Mumbai real estate.
Oh, okay. So, different league altogether.
Yeah. So, did not like that industry a lot. Then started working with few companies in the marketing domain. Then worked with one of the largest talent management and influencer marketing companies in India. Then there I thought, so I realized that there is a gap wherein most people are talking about influencers. So we majorly do influencer marketing. Everybody is talking about influencers, but nobody is majorly talking about the strategy that goes behind choosing those influencers, right? So we figured that, we were like, okay, let's do strategy-led influencer marketing, wherein we majorly take care of the strategy, what the brand wants, what the audience wants, and then reverse engineer it towards choosing the right influencers. Again, while working with the biggest of brands like Duolingo, working with brands like Zomato, working with brands like D2C brands like National Miles and all of those companies, I think the journey has been great. Like, realized a lot more things than we did earlier, and yeah.
For me, I had a personal weight loss journey of about 20 kgs when I entered college back in 2016, 2017. I realized that fitness becomes a lot more convenient and easy if you have some good packaged food items to consume on a day-to-day basis. And in India, if you go on the retail shelves, generally you'll see stuff filled with palm oil, sugar and whatnot, right? So people really try to complicate it. If you just keep things extremely simple, consume a good amount of protein in every meal, and be on a caloric deficit if you want to lose weight and a caloric surplus if you want to gain weight, everything becomes a lot more easy. It's not really necessary to track each and every calorie, right? So it was very clear for me that I wanted to do something of my own. And this was obviously an area of personal interest. When I did my engineering, I worked for a couple of years in analytics with AXA in the London team. Post that, really wanted to do something of my own, started looking out for opportunities in the D2C space. On a personal front, I was also very inspired by my father. Right? He has been a first generation entrepreneur, and no one in our family before him has done any sort of business.
What's his business?
Yeah, so he runs a business in the aviation industry. He provides manpower services to airports across the country. Right, and he has been an extreme risk taker. Like, you'll not believe, he has actually kept my mother's jewelry on lease just to be able to raise money for his first business.
That is really, really
yeah. And people these days are afraid to raise debt. He always tells me that you're educated, you'll anyways get a job, right? So you'll be able to put food on your table anyways. Why not go big, right? So that's the philosophy I had, and that's what I try to do with my business also.
Who's going next?
So, 15 years in tech before I decided to venture out into the entrepreneurial space. I did my graduation in Delhi. Wipro has a work cum study integrated program with BITS, so they took us straight from campus. I enjoyed the coding bit, the tech bit so much that I stayed there for 15 years. That was the first job I had, don't have a resume, nothing. At some point I realized I've done this, fairly comfortable in my job. Once you become senior enough, the management part stops appealing to you, and I missed the challenges that I had in my previous roles. So then an opportunity came along, left to start an influencer marketing platform. That's where Chirag and I were colleagues. Went well, took an exit in 22. And this Tabor today is more of a personal need. So my wife and I, when we had our daughter Adya, we had some health issues with her, and went around looking for information, resources, all the help that we could find. And being privileged folks, right? We had access to people, we had money, we had everything, and we realized there was still so much of it not available, right? No doctors, no real information, no affiliations. We had to constantly call folks in the US thinking that things are better there. And at some point in our journey, we realized that when we have the time, we'll try and solve for this. We'll try and do something with this. And when I left the last stint, I knew I was going to have some time. Sanjana had at that point given up her career to focus on her daughter's health. So we knew this is the time, let's focus on this. So that is how Tabor was born, that, let's tell the parents what to do with your child. So we took up 0 to 5, 0 to 8 years. That's when schools don't kick in. You have the most FOMO because you want to do the most for your child, you know the least actually. Right?
Yeah.
So, we said, we'll tell the parents what to do with their child, what to expect, what could be the possible red flags, right? And once we tell you what to do, then we have a whole marketplace come and discover what all you can do, where to find these guys and how to book. So we have things like a chess and abacus class, to a horse riding session, to a popular play area or a trampoline park. We got everything covered, right? If you're an 18-month-old's parent to an 8-year-old's, the platform covers you. We give you great value, discount. There's a concierge. We know mothers are juggling multiple jobs. So, today you could just send us a voice note saying, hi, listen, book this at 5 o'clock. And we take care of it, right? Most of it is automated. And then on the business side, we spoke to a lot of businesses before we started, and we realized some of them are very small setups. Some of them are part-time teachers. They need resources, they need software, websites. All of these are an afterthought for them. They don't, at first they said, can you give me a space? Can you give me your network? Can you get 5 people to my workshop? So today we give them a full stack to manage their business. And of course, help them with marketing, get them customers and all of that. So that's how Tabor was born. This was a personal need for us.
Okay.
So I'm a third-time founder. So this is actually my third venture. So, after my last exit in 22, I was looking
How did you
for
get
my
the
next.
exit? You sold to somebody?
Yeah, I sold my last company to a Swedish investor. So before that, I actually started my
You
career in
made money
e-commerce.
then?
Yeah. I've made money in both my ventures.
Oh, good show.
So I started actually my career in e-commerce. I was one of the first guys to attempt to sell furniture online in India. This is back in 2011. So we used to run this company called heavenandhome.com, which was a subsidiary of Jabong. And it was, at that time, one of its first. It was pre-Amazon, anyone who attempted to do that at the time. So we did really well. We scaled. We eventually sold our company to Fafurnish in 2012. And post that, post that exit, I was again looking for things to do. So I started this agency. I wanted to get into tech. So I actually learned how to code myself. I wanted to sort of build like different apps, like get into sort of user experience and stuff like that. So we did that for about 8 years. Again, scaled that agency to a certain extent. But again, like I wanted to get back my real, I think, interest was in D2C and building brands. So 22 is when I got the exit, and I was looking for something to do. And I think the reason I chose perfumes was because I studied in the US, and the only thing I used to collect or at least buy in duty free was perfumes. And I never really collected anything unlike my dad, who has like sunglasses and like multiple other things that he has. The only thing I ever bought was perfumes, and like when I was looking for something to do, it kind of sort of really resonated with me in the fact that I was like, okay, this is something close to my heart. This is something that I feel also has a white space in India. And I researched for about like 5-6 months, and really figured out what I wanted to focus on. And so 22, I kind of also met 2 other founders who was also from the product side. They were also trying to build something in the similar space. So just in one conversation we kind of connected and realized that this is what we all wanted to do.
So, almost everybody here seems to have work experience before becoming founders, and then there is you who's got work experience as a founder, which is rare. So, how easy was it to let go of your day jobs, a good salary? Everybody has some degree of responsibilities. You said you've got a young daughter. So, how easy was it, and who resisted and who supported you guys when the decision was taken to be a founder?
See, I can speak as a founder, I guess, not so much somebody who works. I think as a founder, the biggest struggle is, income, right? Like, it's not always consistent, especially early on, when you're trying to build. Even at the agency, when we were trying to build, it's not like there was there were months that we would take a salary. There were months like we weren't taking a salary. And, like you said, if you have a family, obviously you have expenses, you have responsibilities. So it's hard. And, so many times, during that journey, I was just forget this. With my experience, I can just go get a job, get consistent income. Why am I trying to build this? Whereas we were paying salaries, people were getting money on time, but we as founders weren't taking salaries. So absolutely, I think there's that struggle for every founder as well. There are times where you just want to quit.
Who supported you? When you took the decision, was it?
I think my parents supported me at the time because they were like, look, even if it doesn't work, you still have a roof under your head. But also my savings went into the business. So even from my first venture, it's not like I had a lot of money to sort of go around. But yeah, I think my parents were the biggest support, definitely.
So for me, I think explaining to my parents why my business is not making 40% profit in the first year is very tough. So my father has always been used to businesses that make a good profit. Explaining that it takes money to acquire customers. You have to have a pipeline of customers for the first couple of years and then eventually get to a break even. I think explaining that has been a journey. But having said that, they see the kind of effort that I'm putting, being 24/7 into it, whether it's weekends, whether it's any holidays, right? So I think they do understand that it's a long-term play, right? If you make money, you make a lot of money. If you don't, it's an experience. And I kind of think of my time as an entrepreneur as my MBA also, because I haven't done my MBA. So I feel like I'm actually learning so much more than I would have in a business school in the US or the UK.
It also depends on the phase of life that you're in, right? You're much younger, then the liabilities and the risks are limited. In our case, at least, I'll speak for myself, had a child and both of us are working. One of us stopped working, and then at that point I decided that let me try this. So for us, it was simple that when I start something, I'm going to keep aside 3 years of capital needed, based on my projections, needed to run the business. We'll set that aside. An X amount that we need to, sustain ourselves, the lifestyle that we lead, we need something for our daughter, we need something for ourselves, and then there are fixed monthly expenses. We'll keep that aside for 3 years. Fortunately, because I started very late and I'd worked and, had a small exit, so I had some money, my wife had some money. So yeah, so that was the main criteria for us, that we need funds for 3 years for the business.
Yeah, but you were putting everything on the line.
Yeah. So I had 2 phone calls. I live in a joint family, so the first phone call was my wife, of course, and she said, "Go ahead, do it." Because I said, "Listen, I'm going to be resigning now. I had some work. I used to be, my team used to be based in Bangalore, and I had flown to Bombay for some work. And something happened. I said, listen, I'm going to decide today. So I'm going back to Bangalore. So I called my wife first. I said, listen, this will happen today. Speak now, or then, for 3 years, you're supporting me. She says, please go. You're becoming too cranky. You must do this now. And the second phone call was my younger brother. I called him. He said the exact same thing. He said, you're becoming too cranky. You'll end up fighting with us every day. Please go and do this now. We got you.
So the lesson for founders is become cranky, then everybody will support you.
They see you that you're going into work and, you professionally, from a label standpoint, you seem to be doing well. But if it's not keeping you happy, then and you in that position where you can take that risk. And I also feel that, we've had a privileged upbringing. You worked hard and you worked for 20 years. So if you don't take a risk now, then, when will you take that chance? And we'd also done our calculations. We studied the space. So we knew that it's not that, it's a blind dart that I'm showing. I'm not shooting in the dark. I feel it's going to work because everything, as per me, sort of seems to work out on paper. And then let's go and do it. So yeah, just 2 phone calls. Both said yes.
But has anybody said to you since then that what are you doing?
A lot of people. But again, I'm 40. You pass that age where you really care about people who don't matter to you in your life, right? People say good things, people say bad things. People say, sometimes people say things to you, they don't even realize that they've said that. What hurts most is the times when they've said something in the flow of a conversation where they've compared you to their child or compared to, you to someone else, where, when you read between the lines, you're like, oh, this is what you meant. But then, the minute you've taken that plunge, you've already passed that, judgment phase where what will this person say or what will this uncle feel or, when I go to this family dinner, how will I be positioned and what will they think of me? Will they judge me? You pass that. You don't care. At least in my case, it didn't bother me then.
In my case, for me, it was a tough decision, honestly. I was at that time working at IBM. And obviously, I had a daughter, I had a family. And we stay in a joint setup wherein most of the decisions and everything is taken care by us as a family. So it was a very hard decision for me. So what I did was that I first, while working, I started the business. I also have a marketplace. We are currently still running that marketplace for the curly hair community. So we have international and Indian brands. We were the first ones to bring in those international brands in India in 2018. Now we do see a lot of curly hair brands in India, but at that time there were none. And we were the first one to discover and let people understand, okay, this is your hair type and these are the products that you should use. So people were very happy. And I could see that 6 months I started doing this business while I was working, and then I could see that there is a lot of customer queries that are coming in, pouring in, also letting us know that we should get that brand or that brand. So that's when I decided that, okay, now it's very difficult for me to do both the things at one time. And I had to take a call, and I'm so glad I did. That now that this year we launched our own brand as well, which is Truth and Hair.
But did anybody try to stop you and say that it's a damn bad idea? No? Nobody stopped you?
Thankfully, no. Everybody was very supportive in my family, my husband, my in-laws, everybody. And I think all thanks to them that I've been able to be here today at this level. Because I understand it's very difficult for any woman, especially after having kids, to get into business and have all your focus on business. It's really hard for a mother.
I think we all are privileged enough that we are in a generation wherein people are actually supportive. When it comes to me, again, I come from a real estate background. Like, there was one point my father was like, "Tu yehi join kar raha hai." I was like, "No, I think I want to do something else," and they supported me. They were like, "ठीक है, तुझे जो करना है तू कर." That is not a problem at all, and that is, I think, the biggest plus for anybody and everybody. Like, when you have family support, I think anything and everything will work out.
It's all the difference.
Yes, because if anything goes down, they're still there. If everything is going up, they're always there.
So for me, it was a very calculated risk. Like, we had ensured like we have enough savings that if we are taking such a high risk, our living is not impacted as such. So we had a baby as well early this year. So we had to make sure that we have the buffer needed when we do this startup. Additionally, like we spent a lot of time in research when we were in our jobs to make sure that there's a gap that we are trying to fill. It's not just a startup that we want to do because we are passionate about being an entrepreneur. So we did enough research and we were sure. But I think the hardest part who was stopping me was everyone asking me, "Tu to engineer hai, ye kya kar raha hai? Like food mein kyun kar raha hai?" So every relative who I met, he was like, "Ki बहुत ही complicated space है, बहुत लोग हैं, you won't be able to survive." So it was them stopping me, but I think ultimately it's the family who keeps saying like, starting is going to be tough. Eventually you will figure out and it will be all fine. So I think family is again the biggest supporter for me.
Anybody who faced any pressure?
That way is typically even friends and some people will come and say that engineer से कैसे beauty space दूर tak रिश्ता
there's
नहीं
no
है
connection.
I met an investor once. He told me the specific line: "You're from an analytics background. You're good with tech. You're good with numbers. Why are you selling chips?" Right. So it was very hard for him to understand that end of the day, I'm building a digital business. My skills in tech and computer science would still be required for me to scale, right? As I go from X to 100X. Yeah. But he's one of the people I want to go back to, and once I build a huge brand and tell that eventually I made the right choice.
But I think, like what I've seen, for example, is that, so you take that leap, right? And you decide to become a founder. But when you walk into, let's say, a social gathering, your friends will have big sort of brands that they're working for, and there's a different arrogance that, they bring to the table. So do you guys miss the brands that you worked for, and now to justify who you are in India, we are conscious of brands. So does it make a difference? When you walk in, or do friends say, "Arey, मेरी company ने, business class में भेज दिया to wherever, to the US maybe, but you can't afford that, or you don't need to do it anymore, for example."
I think there's always societal pressure, right? Like, I mean, there'll always be in any circle, especially in Delhi, like where it's a very small social circle. And I mean, honestly
The
speaking,
size of your car matters.
exactly. What car you drive, where you live, like your PIN code matters, right?
Yeah.
And even like some of my friend circle, like, everyone is like doing something like really big, for example, like if they, like you said, if they're traveling business class, and everything is on Instagram nowadays, right? So there's always that FOMO too, like, okay, everyone's in Italy for the summer, for example.
Yes.
And you're sitting in Delhi building your startup again, right? So there's always that thing that you'll question, right? Okay, why this? Everyone's traveling, everyone's living the life, everyone seems to be killing it. And you are at that, stage, again, you're starting up. So yeah, like I think that'll always remain, but you just have to, I think, keep your head down and keep building, right? Like, because I think there's something different for you, like, out there, I guess. So I don't know. So I guess you got to keep building.
That's the part of the journey, right? If you worked in the past, we all used to an office of our own, people sometimes waiting to meet you and requesting to schedule time with you.
Yeah, that's a different eye.
And then right? And today, if you've done well, you work for any corporate, you've traveled, you know, on business, India, overseas. So you've lived that life where you have your Amex and everything is paid for. It's great, right? You get miles and then, the typical, the corporate gig. The first 3 months of a startup, you try calling interns and then they sometimes don't respond.
Yeah, they don't take your calls.
I once wanted to interview an intern at this Costa right here. She didn't show up. And at 10:15, we're supposed to meet at 10:15. I call her, "Listen, are you on your way? Are you going to be late?" The response I got was, "Oh, oops, I'm still in bed. I couldn't get over it." I like, is this person that irresponsible, or am I that insignificant that she's clearly forgotten that she was supposed to,
you do become a bit insignificant in people's
right?
eyes.
So that, if you worked in the past, that's the biggest sort of adjustment that you need to get used to. But the rest of it is like, I mean, obviously you'll not take the same number of holidays, right? Clearly you're not going to Italy.
Or any holidays.
Italy, yeah, exactly.
Can you take any holidays?
Right? Even if, let's say you get an invite that, "Listen, I'm getting married, come to Jaipur over the weekend." You're like, "Listen, for us, weekends are the most, like, we sell the most on the weekend. There is no way I can be away from my phone or my team or not be in office over the weekend." So those are sacrifices you mentally get tuned to. But just the other stuff that I explained, right? That shedding off that the comforts of the corporate, that takes about 3 to 6 months to get used to, then you're okay. Then you're like, oh, so this is what it's going to be like, right? This is what the getting used to feels like.
No expense account.
No expense account, you have your own credit card, people call you,
You have to book yourself.
There is no
Look
email.
for the cheapest flight.
No, and you do it on your own. There is no email that you send to, like, listen, I need to go here and book me via Dubai. There is nobody calling you back and tell you, sir, Emirates is not available. No, you are looking at the cheapest fare.
And now you're looking at Fly Dubai, not Emirates.
Yeah. No, there's no Dubai now. You're not, even domestically thinking, can I avoid this meeting? Can we do this online? Right?
Yeah.
So...
No, what I want to just add is, like, when I've heard, everyone's story here, and I just want to add it's not like, your parents, your family or anything. It's your gut feeling, your inside that wants your ambition to succeed and do something, and that's the secret point of it. So all of those are, part of the whole thing, but it comes from inside, not from anywhere else. Because ours, when I was working in US, we started our entrepreneurial journey very, on the side, on the weekends already, without even thinking, because we wanted to do something, right? Wanted to have an ambition to do it. And ours was a very different one, because we transitioned from 20 years of living in the US to come to India and start from scratch, and everything is 20 years behind. When I came with the BlackBerry here, everybody laughed at, like, what is this in your hand? So things like that. So it's I think all the situations fell apart. Everything matters in your heart. So that's the secret. That's what I think.
And that sort of helps you overcome all of the other sort of hurdles.
Like, every day we go 3 steps backward, 2 steps forward in India. From us, 18 years, we haven't adjusted yet to life here. But we keep going. We say, keep trying. We spend 3 hours just chasing couriers here, which is a 20-minute job in the US. But we still keep doing it because we're looking for a bigger vision, bigger picture, and we know that once we're there, we cover everything in 5 minutes. So that's the power of believing.
So, one of the biggest problems or situation about a startup is failure. How much do you guys think about failure, worry कि ये तो नहीं चलने वाला है? Does it keep you guys up at night?
See, failure of course it's a worry, but not in terms of what if this venture fails completely, I'll tell you. This particular business model may fail. This approach that I've taken may fail. That's the constant worry. That's the everyday worry. That's the weekly update worry, right? That this bet that I've taken, this new feature that we developed, this new product that we've launched, right? Will this work? Or this is not working as I thought that it would. And then you sort of course correct. So that's everyday worry. Larger philosophical worry that, this will fail, right? This may fail. What do I do then? You think of that when you start. You have a contingency plan in life, right? That, listen, I will be employable, right? I work hard, I'll figure out something. So once you start with that, then I think that comes once in a while. You have a bad day, you have a really bad meeting, you're low, right? Once every now and then you may be lower. Only on those days, otherwise the constant worry for at least someone like me would be, will this work out? And if this model, this plan does not work out, what's my backup plan? And how do I bounce back from this? And how quickly can we launch the backup plan? And what's plan B or plan C, whatever. But the larger philosophy with this fails, what happens that you told yourself on day one, right? And you have a backup plan. We'll shut shop, we'll apologize to investors, we'll return this money, we have this money set aside to pay dues to the vendors. And we go back in the job market, or we call friends, people who wanted to work with us at one point, that, listen, I'm available now, what do you want to do? So you've told yourself that on day one. And then maybe on dark days, cloudy days, you think about that. But for me, the constant struggle is that, am I going to hit this number, right? Then if I'm not hitting the number, then this is failing. What else is failing, right? Our content is failing. Our business model is failing. Our plan is failing. This new approach to onboard people is failing. So that worries me on a daily basis. The larger question, not so much, not on an everyday basis.
I think I agree to Amrit, sir. I'll tell you. So there are 2 sides of the coin. What if the worst that can happen? What if the best
What is
that
the worst? What is the worst?
The worst is it can shut down. This company can shut down, but my ideology, he just mentioned, my ideology towards working on this will not shut down. If I believe in my idea, I think there are new verticals that can start. There are new things. There can always be a newer thing, right? When we started, we were like, okay, let's do influencer marketing. Okay. But then there were so many competitors, right? What do I do now? I want to now enter into newer domains. How do I strategically get into newer things. We started AI-led influencer marketing. We started deep fake AI when it comes to newer ways of marketing the brands and things like that. We did so much in AI because last year AI was trending a lot, right? The brands used to come to us. They were like, "हमें AI integrate करवा के दो. How do we market through AI?" We told them these are the ways you can use. So there will always be a new thing that will come up in the market, which will one frighten you from your main idea, and when it comes to exploring newer ways, there will always be new doors that you can open. So
Failure.
Failure fuels you, so you know.
Yeah, I completely agree.
So that's
Failure
the
fuels
secret,
you.
you know, that you don't want to fail. So you keep working hard, keep grinding, keep going forward, and
But
keep.
what if the market just doesn't respond to you?
So that depends on your, you know, like a pilot can give him any plane, he'll take care of it. But you know, if a plane is not good, you know, it's not the pilot. It's you have to keep, you know, going forward and stuff. For example, you keep pivoting, you keep changing. You know, when COVID happened, a lot of people shut down, but other people who were courageous enough, they started pivoting and get into other different things. So we do that every day. You know, in our company, for example, we were focused on nutrition, but we wanted to integrate some more stuff, not depend only on nutrition. So we brought in tech into the play in India. So we got the Whoop bands for the Indian cricket team, you know, and then you know we saw everybody wearing, you know, these bands.
Yes, we saw that. Yeah.
So you keep pivoting, and what I feel in India is there's one thing which lacks in most of the people I go meet is the innovation. You know, copy paste is very common here. If you do the innovation, you know, you have authentic products, you do innovation, your competition, failure, everything is on the side. So just, you know, that's the secret here. Failure fuels you because the fear of failure will make you working hard. So that's the gist of it.
I personally believe if you're in it for the long term, your odds to become lucky get higher. 10 experiments might fail, but 11th one might succeed. But you have to be resilient enough to wait till the 11th or the 12th one, right? Personally, for me, I was rejected by 50 plus investors in the last couple of years. And if I be very candid, I have been on the verge of giving up a lot of times. And for all those rejections, there was nothing material feedback that I could work upon. There was nothing like you can make the product better, you can make the team better. It was just that the market is cluttered, as you mentioned. There's not, according to them, there is not enough room for me to build a 1,000 crore brand in this market in the next 5 to 10 years, right? I changed absolutely nothing. Just kept speaking to more investors. I think serendipity kicked in, and I was able to close 20 to 25 angel investors in the last month, right? So I personally believe if you have a buffer of 3 years, you have to be on it for the next 3 years. You have to keep experimenting every day, meet new people every day, and someday or the other you will get lucky. Serendipity will kick in, and you'll be able to have success.
So when you were willing, I mean, you were almost wanting to, you know, sort of give up because you said that. So what stopped you from giving up?
I think it was the self-belief. Self-belief was the biggest part. I knew that if I am in it for the next 4 or 5 years, even if worst case I'm not able to raise, I can make a profitable business because we were anyways breaking even, right? And launch new products, move to newer distribution channels, increase our ticket sizes, and get to a state where I'm able to make a profit, and then not really depend on external capital for me to grow the business from this point, right? So I think that was really what I was thinking.
You were saying that failure fuels you.
Absolutely. Failure fuels me. And I think at every stage, you know, you're learning. Every day is a new learning in a business. And today I've thought that, okay, this agency I'm going to work with, or this is a new way that I'm going to work with the influencers. It fails. And then that's a learning, right? So you obviously got to try different things. So rightly said, you know, that you got to pivot. Exactly.
You have to be right one time.
So if this is not working for you, you got to pivot to a different method or something else. That's what we did for our business. We could see that as a marketplace, it's going to be just for a curly community, and that community is very small. So scale is something that we wouldn't get as much as we wanted. So that's the reason why we pivoted and built our own brand. And we know that this is not a curly specific brand, it's supposedly for all the hair textures. So that's how, I think we all learn, and we are still learning.
Okay. Anybody scared of failure?
No, I think startup is a roller coaster ride. Like you are bound to have at the start a lot of thoughts about failure, especially like in the food and beverages when your consumer consumes your product and they leave a bad review. That's the point you keep thinking, what, like, other people are liking it, but still there are some people who don't like it. What should I do? So I think it's the failure that fuels you, because you keep thinking, if there's something wrong, I should reach out to that customer, speak to him, what's wrong. So you try to think of ways to figure out that fault that is in your product or anything, and you try to solve that eventually. So it's constant innovation. Like no day is same, I think, in a startup. Like every day is different problems, different way to look at it. So failure, I think it's a constant thought, but it really makes you a passionate founder as well.
It makes you stronger. Yeah. You learn a lot from
it. Like, when you grow up in US and then you meet the startup founders and venture capitalists and stuff, so they always say one line, it's the founders, it's not about the cash running out, it's the founders' energy.
Yeah.
So if you have that, then you won't be able to go through that. So
Very true.
Yeah, I think specifically in India, it's kind of harder to shut a company down than start one. There's so many, apart from the social stigma and stuff like that, there is so many compliances that, stay with you for years. Like I've seen it with my dad's companies where, the company shut down in 2001 and he's getting income tax notices in like 2010. And, when there's no running income, like it's harder to like keep complying with those legal things. So that's I think another thing that a lot of people don't think about, but of course, like, it's much harder when you shut a startup, especially if it's a private limited company. And I think that stays with you. So it's, like I said, it's easier to start up, but when you actually shutting down and everything is going downhill, it's going to stay with you for a long time. So I think that fear always stays with you,
So do you need a thick skin as a founder? Like you basically take in everything that comes.
Mentally strong. That's the secret.
Yeah.
I agree with that. You have to be mentally strong. See, if you're in it for the right reason, you'll find that courage. You'll persist. What you're trying to say.
What is the right reason?
See, you should be in it because you believe in that idea, right? The reason that we've all shared with you, why did we start? You got to first of all believe in that yes, I like this, I want to solve this problem, or I want to build this. And this will keep me happy and engaged for the next 3, 4, 5 years. It can't be the, listen, I'm going to be on a PR junket, I'm going to be in social media, I'll go to one talk and give gyan for 2 days. Nobody wants that from you.
Panels,
right?
podcasts.
Unless
everybody wants to be on a podcast.
Unless you've changed the landscape or you created, Paytm, who's going to come and listen to you, right? First, do something that big. So if you're in it for short-term goals, a little bit of, short-term glory, then if your reasons are incorrect, you'll not have the energy beyond a point to sort of persist. But if you're in it for the right reason, that I like this space, I'm going to build a real business out of this, we're going to make money, we're going to, generate value, we're going to solve this big problem, you will find the courage to persist, right? In the end, the game, what we're trying to say is, got to persist. If you persist long enough, you'll find the right pivot, you'll side shift, you'll do something, you'll figure out the right solution. That will only come when the reason is right. Now, if you're in it for the glamour of whatever short-term goals, then obviously you will struggle. And if you struggle with your motivation because something else, some other shiny object is in the near horizon, and then you approach toward that, right? And then, then you know what.
And then you have to understand that, any stuff you do in India, it's a 10, 15 year journey, right?
Absolutely.
At least, very least.
So I get calls from international brands wanting to enter India, and I sent a reply back. I said, if you have faith and patience for India market, then we are talking. If not, then please go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So this is how things are here.
I think more than that, also the founding team matters. I think, you can be in it, but if you have a co-founder, for example, I think you both have to be on the same page. And I think because if the goals are different between your founders, I've seen startups fail in front of me, like, just because the two founders want different things.
I'm a solo founder. So
So I
have nobody to fight with. Except myself.
So if you're solo founder, great. But if you have other co-founders, you kind of have to all be on the same page. And there is, people also get bored. Like sometimes, like it's as simple as that. Like after a year, like somebody just not.
That's what I was trying to say, right? That if your reason is right, that you genuinely believe in the problem that you want to solve.
Yeah.
No,
right?
but you have another advantage, right? Your wife is supporting, right?
I was going to say my co-founder is my wife. I don't know where that fits.
What
category is that? What is the risk appetite there, right?
So I have the same thing. So my wife is a biochemist, so she complements my work. So that's how we work together. So he was saying if the team is right, you can succeed. So if you have the right partner with you.
See, that's with the co-founder, that's with the people that you hire also.
That's it. Yeah.
But see, even if you have co-founders, there's only one CEO. There's one captain.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody gathers behind, that's the person, that's the steam engine, right? And everybody sort of rallies behind that person.
No, but
And actually, even two co-founders are not alike. There'll be somebody
people
will
are
be a little higher in terms of
it
what
depends
they bring.
on what they understand.
The
Like
dynamics will always be different.
Yeah, personality, drive,
Personality, yeah.
energy is. So, let's say, investor rejection, customers complaining, employees leaving or not showing up, doing a no-show, an intern doing a no-show, not even an
Then show up for the interview.
One of my interns didn't show up for a job. I had offered a job. I gave them a letter. They were like, we're joining tomorrow.
But
at 10 a.m., at least they didn't come to the interview. They didn't show up the job.
Everybody.
But have they told you that, listen, I'm still in bed? Oops.
No, I'm expecting. I'm like, hey, so you're going to be working on this. Are you going to have your work set up for the day? Where are you? They're like, oh, yeah, by the way, I decided not to come.
So where I was headed was, what really, really hurts the most? People not showing up, investor rejection, or bad customer feedback, or customers not coming at all?
All of the above.
All of the above. Everything is painful.
Everything hurts when you're a founder.
Plus 100 more things.
Everything hurts when you're a founder.
And the political situation also, which we don't want to talk about, but that also matters.
What's the
Customers.
worst? Customers.
Customer experience.
In the end,
of the
any
customer.
business is customers. Who are you selling to? We're not building our businesses for ourselves, our family. We're not building it for social media. In the end, the customer pays, whoever's your customer. So if that person and a group of them, right, there's a trend of them not understanding the product or not liking the service or sharing negative reviews, then you know that there's a gap. So
what
that
do you do
has
with
to
a negative
hurt.
review?
It better hurt you the most.
But what do you do with that negative review? What's
But
the
then you go back to the
solution?
drawing board, yeah.
Yeah, you start improving on
To
that.
understand what's wrong.
You start improving on like this is the mistake. How do I improve on this?
So you get a customer review, for example, in a skincare product. If your product is not good enough and there are more than 100 people talking about wrong about that product, as it's not a good one, it's not efficient enough. So then obviously you've got to work on that product again, do the R&D again, do the working again, and then come out with a newer product. But then again, in fact, I have a question that it is so difficult in an FMCG world that by the time you're doing that, making those changes to that product, तब तक आपकी मार्केट में आपके कस्टमर
There is
ने
a new competitor.
हाँ नहीं तब तक
चला
कुछ
गया
और आ
customer,
गया
the
और वो
customer's
कस्टमर
gone.
चला गया
Yeah.
फिर.
Yes.
They will
So
not come
then-
back to try and know and find out कि तुमने change करा है कि नहीं करा
So
है.
then I don't understand when people say that you can come out with the product as soon as possible, but then work on it later on. This is what they say, founders can always come up with a good enough product.
So I think there's a nuance there. But I mean, I'd like to hear everyone. What does everyone feel about
I
this?
think there are two perspectives. One is you take a year and a half to really work on the product, do the R&D, get the testing done, get it soft launched, and then actually go to the market, have the GTM 1-2 years down the line. One is you keep it very lean, just launch the product within a couple of months, which is what I did. Get real money to get real customers to pay real money and get real feedback, and then keep iterating upon the product as you go along. So I support the theory where you actually launch the product first, because I think you can only get so much feedback from a survey. Once you actually get customers to pay their hard-earned money, then they'll be able to give you better feedback and actually tell you what is not working with the product. So I really believe and follow that.
Anybody else?
So coming back to your customer question, the mistake I did when we were starting our business, we were addressing and dealing with the wrong customer. So addressing the right customer base is the secret. So ours was premium products and expensive and highest quality. So we were going for everyone and anyone. So now then we shifted our customer base to elite, niche and everything. And ever since we never had a problem.
No, so a point to which you just said, I think addressing the right customer becomes very important, because you can't make 100% of people happen, like it just doesn't happen. But I think if you're addressing the right segment and getting the right feedback and you're building for that segment, I think that's what really matters. And as long as it's like, above a certain threshold, in terms of even let's say your NPS score, I think you're good. But you will never get 100%. Look.
No, but that's what hurts the most, is what I think we're
That's
trying to
what,
write.
yeah.
That's probably for us, that's the most important thing. That's what hurts the most. That why are we missing this?
See, the thing is, like, sometimes customers just don't like something for just the fact that they're having a bad day. and they leave a bad review and it happens. But then what Chandra's general point was that if you're addressing the right segment and your product and you're building for that, I think if you are above a certain score, at least in that sense, I think that's what I look at personally. I go with the fact that no matter what product I'm building, I'm not going to represent 5-star reviews, right? And I can live with that as long as, like I said, my product is good, strong, and it's building for the right segment. If that segment is liking it, I think I'm happy that they did it. So that's basically what I was trying to say.
The toughest part is usually the customer who is happy, they won't put a review, right?
Yes.
And it's the customers who are
Happy customers,
and they will put a detailed review on whatever they don't like. So it's
Exactly.
really hard that
Absolutely.
Yeah, even on Amazon, I as a consumer I look at ratings, but now I know that it's usually skewed to the bad ratings because people who don't like the product only put the review. So
I think you incentivize their reviews, they will answer. Most of the time it happens. So in our stuff, we don't do much outside of our thing because we're always short on stocks and products availability. But when we request a customer, it benefited your recovery and you feeling better, and I say, will you be okay to put a testimonial out so that the other athletes and young kids can look up to you, and the minute you give them emotional touch, they will do it without any problems.
You put flyers inside the order that say if you review, there's a QR that they can scan, redirect it to Amazon, and we'll give them a 50 to 100 rupees cashback or a percentage of whatever order value that they have. So generally, we have seen 15 to 20% people do actually review, right?
So quick, sort of closing remarks. What is that one tip you will give to an aspiring founder? So one tip?
I would say be extremely comfortable with failure. Just assume failure is going to come no matter what. You're going to fail at something or the other every day, and take it in your stride. Keep improving. Be very comfortable with unstructured work. Be ready to mop your office, and also be ready to make your roadmap and pitch deck on the same day. Right? There is absolutely nothing to be embarrassed
really
about.
Live the journey.
Yeah.
I wash dishes in this office.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I would just say, just have faith, have patience, and keep working hard and be innovative. That's the secret.
I think just be passionate about what you're doing. I feel if you're passionate, then I think you can sort of get through the ups and downs, because ups and downs.
But can you define passion? Like, what does that mean?
I think for me specifically, I'm passionate about perfume. I actually like perfume not as just the fact that it's my business, but also as a user. So at the end of the day, I get to work and I'm happy about it. I'm happy about using the product. I'm happy about building the product. So I think for me, passion is that you live, breathe that in a sense. But if you're not really into your product, you don't believe it yourself, you'll never be able to sell it. So that's, I think, in a nutshell, you really need to live your product, use your product.
It doesn't feel like work. So.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like work. If you're not going to use your product, you're not going to be an advocate of it. I actually use my product, even though it's an affordable segment and all my friends are in the luxury segment, I still go and sell them that product. I'm like, buy it. They're like, no, we'll give it to our staff. I was like, no, you want to use it yourself. I actually believe in it. It's better than your luxury perfume. So I think that's pretty much in a nutshell. You got to be your own product's advocate, pretty much.
I think resilience is very important for each and every founder. And also I would say consistency. Consistently, I know there are ups and downs in a business. There are certain days when you're feeling so low, but then getting to work every day, getting to go to office every day, even for those few hours and doing a bit of work here and there, and that consistency will definitely get you somewhere. And resilience, of course, that it's, they say that you have to be thick-skinned, right? So that's how you'll slowly get there.
I think as women, you get a lot more negative sort of
Yeah. And I would say that for me also, it was very difficult for me to come out with my own thoughts. I think internally itself, women, bash themselves down in their own head. So it's quite harder for women to come up and do all of that. So I'm still working on myself, I would say. So for a young founder or for a women founder, keep doing, be passionate, believe in yourself. I think that's the most important thing.
For me, I think believe in your product, one. Second is be open to feedbacks.
That's a good one.
A bunch of people I've seen, they're like, no, my product is always right. If you have feedbacks, and if those feedbacks are constructive, I think they help you a lot in scale. Because when you work on those particular feedbacks, I think that helps you a lot. So, yeah. be open to feedbacks.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Plan. When you start anything, have a 2-year, 3-year roadmap and a plan, especially the funds. Most businesses run out of money. And if you're worried about money, you really can't focus on the actual problems that you have to solve on the ground. So solve for money first. Have a solid plan.
But how does a young founder do that? I mean,
no, but anyone starting a business, right? You will need funds.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from? Parents, friends, you're raising around. Plan for 24 to 36 months. The plan on paper and money in the bank, right, needs to be there on day one. Don't start, I will go and I will floor people and they will love me and I'll raise money. That may happen great. If you're the magician, super. But otherwise, have a solid plan, right? Make sure there's money in the bank or a source where the money will come from, right? And second is persist. If you have the right reason, just persist. Like you said, right, you have to be right only once. So persist, but have a plan and have money around it, right? If you are struggling with money problems, everything else can be solved for, right? You have the capacity to solve for all of that, but have a plan, have money around it, and then persist. Should be okay.
For me, I think for every founder, if you're starting up, you are in it for the long run. Like, don't think that in 2 years, in 4 years, in 5 years, you will be like Mamaearth or you will be like Zomato. You'll be there will be ups and downs. You might not be even successful in this startup, but it's your passion, it's your motivation that you will pivot from that business idea, if that's not working, to something else. And you will eventually succeed, but it's a long journey. It's not a 2-year, 3-year journey.
So thank you, everyone. This has been a very satisfying table of entrepreneurs. I think we've had a great conversation and I really appreciate everybody coming here, giving their time and their point of view. Thank you.